Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Wow Podcast. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway, and we have a special guest on the line, Author Ursula Bradley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk about your book, Forgiving Father. Can you give me a little insight to what that book is about?
Well, this book here is something that's really dear to my heart, and it came during a point in my life where I was just wondering how can I put this out there to the world. But it talks about something that is so important in a person's life, where this person is a child, a teen, or young adult, as well as adult, about that missing puzzle piece that we all see in a person's life, and that's the father. But in this world today, we see so much negativity as it relates to that, but we need to understand how important that is for a child to have that missing puzzle piece in their life. And the reason I wrote this book was because I was an individual where my household had a transition when I was in high school, where my mother and father were separated. And during that time, my father became a little distant in our lives. But as I became an adult, I ended up being my father's caregiver and took care of him until he passed.
When did you start writing this book?
I started writing this book, it was probably in December of, about 2016. I had the idea and thoughts about doing something, and I already had co-authored a book with 13 Phenomenal Women. So when I went back to my actual publisher and we was talking to her about it, she was like, Ursula, we need to put this out there because forgiveness is something that's so important, because this is what we're lacking in the world. It's all about forgiveness.
So I'm curious, why is forgiveness so important, or why do people feel like it's so important?
Well, the reason I can speak that it's important because forgiveness allows a person to move forward in their lives. It allows a person to grow. And when we actually go through something in life and we are at a standstill and we don't forgive, that means that we don't prosper. We have a lot of people that are at a standstill right now that are not forgiving, and also it causes them to have a lot of anger and bitterness within them. And we need to try to start eliminating that. So that's why it's so important to forgive.
So I'm sure you've been doing some book signings. What has been the feedback from everyone who's been coming to your book signing?
Well, people are really, they're just amazed with, and this is strange to me, how I was able to be my father's caregiver through this process of what I went through. And I try to help them understand, that's the importance of having God first in my life. And really, I didn't think about that because my mother taught us at growing up about the importance of loving one another and being there for one another. So people are really giving positive feedback, and they are just, commending, even when I took care of my father, saying how amazed they were, what I did for my father. But to me, I didn't think it was something that I was doing. I thought it was something that I should do because he was my
Right.
father.
Now, what would you say to a person who is not willing to be forgiving? What would you say to that person?
Well, I would just sit down, I would talk to a person, I'd probably tell them my story, and I help them understand that, you don't want to walk through life having bitterness or anger or resentment within yourself. You need to go to that place, just that quiet place in your life, and just try to think about why it's important to forgive, because forgiveness allows a person to be happy. It really allows a person to be free. And the main thing we need to understand, while we're here on earth, we want to be free, and we want to feel good about life, and that's what it's all about. That's what forgiveness is about, is allowing you to be free and move forward.
That's a great message. So can you tell us where can we purchase your book, and if you have any social media contact?
Yes, you can go to my website, which is beinspired.site, and you can go to that website and you can request a copy of the book, and it will be a signed, autographed copy of the book.
Excellent. So do you have any social media, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Facebook?
I do have Instagram. It's UAM Bradley, and I try to put some things out there as well. And you can go on to that and look at some different pictures and different things I have with that. But I have a Facebook page as well, where people can go on to that, Ursula Maston Bradley, the inspiring author. You can go on to that as well. But I would love for people to go on and look at it. And it's a great book, a very simple book, and it's a very inspiring and motivational tool for any individual of all ages.
Well, there you have it. You're listening to the Wow Podcast. I'm speaking to author Ursula Bradley. We're talking about her book, Forgiving Father. By all means, go to wowpodcast.shop. Check out this interview. Check out any other interviews that we had in the past. Once again, I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. Ursula, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Same here. Thank you.